Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 1 hour. US President Donald Trump announces plan for new US Navy battleships, calls them fastest and most powerful. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy says that negotiations conducted with the United States and European nations are very close to a real result. Australia poised to approve sweeping new gun laws, giving power to ban protests after deadliest mass shooting in decades. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar visits Sri Lanka to meet top leadership in Colombo today. Indian women's cricket team to play their second T20 international with Sri Lanka. US President Donald Trump has announced a bold plan for the US Navy to build a new large warship that he is calling a battleship as part of a larger vision to create a golden fleet. Trump made the announcement at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida. He said that the ship will be longer and larger than the World War II era Iowa-class battleships and will be armed with hypersonic missiles, railguns and high-powered lasers, all technologies that are still being developed by the Navy.
Battleships are the largest, sturdiest, and most heavily armed vessel built specifically for naval combat. While America has built many new warships over the years, they've tended to be smaller and much smaller, and not conducive to where we are and where we're going, and peace through strength. These cutting-edge vessels will be some of the most lethal surface warfare ships. It will be actually the most ever built other than our submarines. We have submarines which will have, in many ways, even more lethality, and we have many of them under construction.
US President Donald Trump has stated that United States could keep or sell the oil it had seized off the coast of Venezuela in recent weeks, adding the United States would also keep the seized ships.
Maybe we'll sell it, maybe we'll keep it. Maybe we'll use it in the strategic reserves. We're keeping it. We're keeping the ships also. He can do whatever he wants. It's all right. Whatever he wants to do. If he wants to do something, if he plays tough, it'll be the last time he's ever able to play tough.
All right, DD India's correspondent Akshay Dongre joins us with more on this. Akshay, good morning. Tell us, how could this pan out? We tell our viewers that US President Donald Trump has said that US could keep the oil and also the seized ships. How could that pan out, and what would it mean for the region?
Well, it seems like a disaster for the region, especially, given the fact that US is now acting like a bully as far as the region is concerned. And while, the earlier aggressions of the United States used to, usually happen in the West Asian region when it comes to countries such as Libya, Iraq, Iran, or other nations. But now it's happening right under the nose of the US, with Venezuela being threatened time and again by the new US administration that is under the Trump government. So what we are seeing is not only an illegal action, but also justification of the action, stating that the oil that Venezuela is selling, that its own personal oil, is being used for drug trade. So just justification that seems like a justification for the seizing of the oil tankers. We all know that while US is one of the largest producer of oil in the world when it comes to petroleum and other sort of shale gas reserve that it has, Venezuela is the largest is the country with the largest amount of proven crude oil deposits. So there is a lot of potential there in Venezuela as far as oil is concerned, as far as other crude fossil fuels are concerned. And it seems that Trump administration is trying to tried to change the Maduro regime there. It failed in doing that, and now it is directly threatening the trade that Venezuela does with other nations. And one of the most prominent nation that it does business with is China. And one of the oil tankers that the Trump administration has seized earlier is one that was taking the oil, or rather selling oil to Chinese companies. So that can erupt into larger geopolitical tensions in the region. However, since Cuban crisis has ended for the U.S. as far as its neighborhood is concerned. Now Venezuela has become another, a flashpoint as far as the sort of threats are concerned from the U.S. So if you ask the question that how may this situation pan out, it may pan out into involving other larger players into sort of this tension that is going on. In a way, it's a conflict. The Venezuelan government can go to the International Court of Justice to take the Trump administration there, as far as the capturing of these oil tankers are concerned, because a third oil tanker is also being chased by the U.S. Security forces as far as the Maduro government is concerned. So the tensions are quite high as far as the Latin American region is concerned. And now what we are seeing is U.S. not even trying to hide the sort of aggressions that it is going ahead with, being a much larger country, much larger military power. It is actually acting like a bully.
All right, Akshay, it is acting like a bully, but then what options does Venezuela have in hand at present? And do we know anything about any response coming in from Venezuela on this?
Well, Venezuela, yes, absolutely. It has been responding to all of these allegations, all of these sort of actions by the US, calling them sort of terrorizing actions, calling them illegal actions. And it can go to International Court of Justice. It can sort of gather its own allies. It can go to multilateral forums. But the options are limited. You are a much smaller country, much weaker economy, much weaker military power. Under a superpower, and you are in sort of conflict with that superpower. So all you can do right now is gather your allies, gather countries that you do trade with, such as China, other nations, diversify your trade, challenge the action that is being taken by Trump administration onto in international forums. So that is the max you can do right now. Because as far as military hardware, military power is concerned, Venezuela stands nowhere when it comes to the U.S. might.
All right, Akshay, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much for joining in with those updates. And still with the US President Donald Trump has said that United States needs Greenland for national security, citing growing Russian and Chinese presence in the Arctic region. Trump in fact implied Greenland is needed for national protection and economic development, not for minerals, as he appoints Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry as his special envoy to Greenland. The move draws criticism from Denmark and Greenland over Washington's growing interest in the mineral-rich Arctic island.
We need Greenland for national protection. They have a very small population. And I don't know, they say Denmark, but Denmark has spent no money. They have no military protection. They say that Denmark was there 300 years ago or something with a boat. Well, we were there with boats too, I'm sure. So we'll have to work it all out. But he felt very strongly we need it for we need Greenland for national security, not for minerals. We have so many sites for minerals and oil and everything. We have more oil than any other country in the world. We need Greenland for national security. And if you take a look at Greenland, you look up and down the coast, you have Russian and Chinese ships all over the place.
Mexico has released water from the El Cachilo Dam as part of its commitments under a long-standing water-sharing agreement with the United States. The dam in Nuevo Leon in northern Mexico released water to cover part of Mexico's water debt to the U.S. under the 1944 treaty. Under the pact, the U.S. shares Colorado River water, while Mexico supplies water from the Rio Grande. Mexico has fallen behind on its obligation, accumulating a deficit of over 1 billion cubic meters over the past years, drawing sharp criticism from Trump. Thousands of miners and rural workers marched through Bolivia's capital on Monday, demanding the repeal of a government decree that cut fuel subsidies. The measure, issued last week, has doubled gasoline prices and tripled diesel costs, sparking anger among unions and transport workers who warn it will drive up food and transport expenses for the poor. President Rodrigo Paz Pereira, just 44 days in office, insists the rollback is needed to ease fiscal pressure, with officials saying subsidies are unsustainable and falling revenues and a slowing economy are because of that. Union leaders vow nationwide protests will continue until the decree is scrapped. US President Donald Trump said that he does not like that photos of Bill Clinton are being released from the Jeffrey Epstein files, calling the move terrible.
But no, I don't like the pictures of Bill Clinton being shown. I don't like the pictures of other people being shown. I think it's a terrible thing. I think Bill Clinton's a big boy. He can handle it. But you probably have pictures being exposed of other people that innocently met Jeffrey Epstein years ago, many years ago.
Trump also argued that many people pictured with Epstein had nothing to do with him beyond being at the same events. Trump claimed Democrats, with help from a couple of bad Republicans, are pushing the releases as a political distraction. He framed the renewed Epstein focus as an effort to deflect from what he called the tremendous success of the Republican Party. The Australian government of New South Wales is preparing and drafting tighter national gun and hate speech reforms following a mass shooting that killed 15 people at a Jewish Hanukkah celebration at Bondi Beach. It was a shock attack that has prompted calls for tougher gun laws and stronger action against anti-Semitism. The new rules will cap the number of guns an individual can own to 4 or 10 for exempted individuals like farmers. The legislation will also ban the display of terrorist symbols, including the flag of the Islamic State, which was found in a car linked to one of the alleged shooters. And it will give authorities power to prohibit protests for up to 3 months following a terrorism incident. Premier Chris Minns said that the laws will be a clear message and a clear progress to keep the people of New South Wales safe.
We need to make decisive steps, whether it's through planning law or hate speech, to send a message to those who are intent on putting hate in people's heart or spreading racism in our community, that they will be met with the full force of the law, and that's exactly what's happened today.
The Australian government said that it was also preparing and drafting tighter national gun and hate speech reforms.
The Commonwealth Firearms Reform Package includes a gun buyback scheme, intelligence sharing, import controls for firearms-related goods, new offences relating to 3D printed firearms, and consideration of removing merits review at different parts of the application process.
Meanwhile, Australian Prime Minister expressed regret on the politicisation on the issue and called for political unity.
This is a time where the nation needs to come together in unity and with that sense of purpose. This is not a time for people to look for political product differentiation for the sake of it. And I'll continue to argue for unity. I'll continue to conduct myself in a way that's consistent with that call for national unity.
You're watching DD India News. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, gunmen kidnapped 28 people in central Nigeria's Bashar district. Security situation in Bangladesh continues to deteriorate. NCP leader shot dead in broad daylight in Khulna. And UK street artist Banksy unveils latest murals in London.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy, always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Newshour. Let's get to updates from Bangladesh now. Inqilab Manch on Monday warned of launching a movement to topple the Yunus-led interim government if justice is not ensured for the killing of its spokesperson, Sharif Osman bin Hadi, vowing to stay on the streets until the perpetrators and their alleged backers are brought to book. The warning came from the platform's member secretary, Abdullah Al-Jaber, at an emergency press conference held in Shahid Hadi Chatar in Dhaka. Jaber accused the authorities of negligence and evasion of responsibility, alleging that the absence of the key advisors at official briefings showed a lack of seriousness over the matter. Announcing a protest, procession and further street programs, Inqilab Manch has said that it would decide whether to continue supporting the interim government or initiate a movement to oust it, reiterating its resolve to remain mobilized until justice is delivered. DD India's Naval Sangh Parmar joins us from Dhaka now. Naval Sangh, good morning. We tell our viewers about the deteriorating situation in Bangladesh. You get us the latest. What are you witnessing on the ground now?
Well, the law and order situation in Bangladesh is not good, and yesterday there were a protest march from the intellectual class of Bangladesh, including journalists, then the civil society members and the rights activists, and they expressed that they lack the confidence in the government. They lack the confidence in the Yunus administration that it is able to provide a secure environment in Bangladesh, and many people express their concern that election will held or not. So this kind of law and order situation is there. And the second thing, there is from the ground it is visible that the realignment of political forces who have supported Yunus administration, there is a realignment of political forces is visible on ground. Like Inqilab Manch, it has supported Yunus administration, and they are giving an open warning that if there is no development in the arrest of Hadi's murderer, then they will try to topple the government, as well as they will not allow to have election. So there are certain sections in political in Bangladesh who are not willing to have an election in Bangladesh as scheduled in February next year.
All right. Also, help us understand how is the political situation, as you tell us, it is grave there, but how is it expected to pan out with the Yunus government under strain? At the same time, the law and order situation is not under control. Put all this together, what is it that it could be witnessed in the coming few days?
If you look at the toppling of Sheikh Hasina government, after the toppling of Sheikh Hasina government, and Yunus came to a power with the support of remaining political force, barring Awami League. In the list include the BNP, Bangladesh Nationalist Party, Jamaat-e-Islami, and the other political radical Islamist front. They openly supported Yunus for the interim government. But now there is a division among the political forces which are active in Bangladesh. This week, on 25th December, the Tariq Rahman, the acting chairman of BNP, is also coming to Bangladesh and are returning to Bangladesh after 15 years. And they are busy with the show of the strength for from the BNP side. And at the same time, many factions who have supported Yunus, they are also now openly criticizing the Yunus administration, because they are expecting certain support or certain kind of favor from the Yunus administration. But now the mess is created here in Bangladesh, and Yunus and its administration is not able to satisfy all section of the political spectrum who have supported Yunus administration. So there is an issue with the supporters of the this current administration, and anything in near future, if something surprising happen in Bangladesh, then it will not be a big deal.
All right, Naval Sang, specific areas in Bangladesh where these protests and this unrest is being witnessed?
Mainly in the Dhaka. Dhaka is the epicenter, and in Dhaka also the university area, Dhaka University area, where the whoever having some sort of issues, they need to come on street, and that is the area of Dhaka University and nearby surrounding area of Dhaka University. In fact, anybody here in Bangladesh have any kind of grievances, they need to come on street, and everything is decided on street in Bangladesh. Administration have lost the control, and the street dominance here in politics of Bangladesh.
All right, Naval Sang, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much for joining in with those updates. And from here, we turn focus to Russia-Ukraine conflict. Now, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy is expecting a report from his negotiating team on a proposed peace plan following talks with the United States. The discussions held in Miami with representatives of US President Donald Trump focused on bilateral security guarantees and an economic recovery plan for Ukraine. Zelenskyy said that substantial work has been done on a 20-point peace plan, but stressed that any progress depends on Russia showing real willingness to end the conflict.
Our negotiation team is already returning after meetings in America with representatives of President Trump. I expect a full report on the prepared documents. A lot has been worked on, primarily documents on security guarantees, as well as the 20 points of the main document, the basic framework discussed by the Ukrainian and American delegations.
Meanwhile, US intelligence continues to warn that Russian President Vladimir Putin has not abandoned his broader territorial ambitions. A Mexican Navy medical aircraft carrying 8 people crashed into the waters of the Texas coast on Monday, killing at least 5. 2 people survived while 1 remains missing. The aircraft was on a medical mission with the Mikau and Mo Foundation, a non-profit organization that supports pediatric burn victims. It had departed Mexico and was approaching Galveston when it went down near Skol's International Airport. Search and rescue teams, including divers, are working in dense fog to locate survivors and recover the wreckage. In Albania's capital, Tirana, protesters hurled fire bombs at the government building housing Prime Minister Edi Rama's office on Monday. They are demanding the government's resignation after prosecutors indicted Deputy Prime Minister Belinda Baluko on corruption charges. Baluko, who also oversees the Ministry of Infrastructure, manages projects worth hundreds of millions of euros. The Special Prosecution Office has asked Parliament to lift her immunity and allow her arrest. Rama's party holds a majority, but it is unclear when lawmakers will vote. Police in riot gear guarded the building during the unrest, but did not move against the demonstrators. In a bid to secure peace in war-torn Sudan, United States has urged Sudan to accept peace plan during UN Security Council meeting. U.S. representative to the United Nations said that the responsibility to end the civil war in Sudan lies with the Sudanese armed forces and the paramilitary rapid support forces. Sudan's civil war between the RSF and the Sudanese armed forces started in April 2023 and has displaced millions and killed tens of thousands of people. During a speech to the United Nations Security Council on Monday, the ambassador urged both belligerents to accept this plan without preconditions immediately.
Let me be clear. The onus is on the Sudanese armed forces and the rapid support forces to end this horrifying conflict now. Under President Trump's leadership and at his direct instruction, Secretary Rubio and Senior Advisor Boulos have offered a way forward via a humanitarian truce. We urge both belligerents to accept this plan without preconditions immediately. We also call on all parties to honor their humanitarian commitments, including refraining from attacking civilians and allowing full, safe, and unhindered humanitarian access throughout the country.
Sudanese Prime Minister Kamel Idris thanked US President Donald Trump and US Secretary of State Marco Rubio for helping to advance the peace process in his country. Earlier, Rubio had said that Washington's immediate goal on Sudan is a cessation of hostilities going into the new year that allows humanitarian organizations to be able to deliver assistance. During the UNSC meeting, Idris stressed on the conflict's trajectory, humanitarian needs and regional implications.
The Government of Sudan Peace Initiative is born not from illusion, but from necessity, not from victory, but from responsibility. It is a deliberate choice to replace chaos with order, violence with law, and despair with hope.
In central Nigeria, gunmen have kidnapped 28 people, including women and children, in Zak village of Bashar district. The victims were traveling to a religious gathering when their vehicle was ambushed. Police have launched an investigation. The attack comes as final group of 130 kidnapped Nigerian school children freed by the government on Sunday in one of the country's worst school kidnappings in recent years, ending a month-long ordeal that drew global concern. The United Nations warns of a surge in mass abductions, with worshippers also targeted in separate raids. The abduction caused outrage over the worsening insecurity in northern Nigeria, where armed gangs frequently target schools for ransom. And the crisis has become a profit-driven industry, generating over $1.6 million in the past year. In Uganda, pop star turned politician Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, better known as Bobby Wine, is stepping up his campaign across Kampala ahead of the January 2026 elections. Bobby Wine's National Unity Platform is the main opposition to President Yoweri Museveni, who has ruled the East African nation for nearly 4 decades now. Uganda has more than 21.6 million voters who are registered for the January 15th vote. The Election Commission has also cautioned security agencies against interfering with campaign activities, pledging a fair contest for all candidates. A quick look at other stories making it to the headlines from across the world now. Elusive British street artist Banksy revealed his latest work in central London amid speculation over an identical second work which has appeared elsewhere in the city. The black and white mural painted on the side of an old building in Bayswater shows 2 people, probably children, in winter hats and Wellington boots lying down, looking up and pointing to the sky. The US Powerball jackpot has climbed to an estimated $1.6 billion ahead of Monday night's drawing, cementing its place among the largest lottery prizes in American history. The jackpot is the 4th largest in the Powerball history and the 5th largest among the US lottery jackpots. As weight loss drugs such as Ozempic are gaining popularity in the US, many popular restaurants in New York are adding bite-sized portions in their restaurant menus. Now, this move is an initiative by restaurant chains to cater their diners with reduced appetites. You're watching DD India News. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, Indian Oil Corporation, along with Indian Army, opens bulk fuel storage in Ladakh to support winter stocking operations. India marks National Farmers' Day today to mark the birth anniversary of Chaudhry Charan Singh.
Can the US launch a bombing campaign against Iran? The Philippines vessel suffered structural damage. The saga of child sexual abuse is the United States China's debt trap strategy. Truth is stranger than fiction. But sometimes hard to uncover. Trust us to tell the truth, unadulterated and pure, of every story that matters to you. You read between the lines, cut the clutter, and connect the dots to get you the full picture. Watch Connecting the Dots at these times with me, only on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Newshour. A quick relook at the top stories now. US President Donald Trump announces plan for new US Navy battleships, calls them fastest and most powerful. Australia poised to approve sweeping new gun laws, giving power to ban protest after deadliest mass shooting in decades. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar visits Sri Lanka to meet top leadership in Colombo today. Indian women's cricket team to play their second T20 international with Sri Lanka today. Australian Navy nuclear-powered submarine entered a South Korean port for crew rest and the loading of supplies. South Korea's Navy said that USS Greenwell's visit will be utilized as a chance to promote and exchange and cooperation between the US and South Korean naval forces and further strengthen their combined defense posture. It is for the first time in about 10 months that a US nuclear-powered attack submarine has entered Busan port since the USS Alexandria in February. Grieving families visit the airport every weekend, seeking answers about South Korea's deadliest airline disaster, in which 179 people died last year. At the Muan airport, close to commercial flights, since the crash, victims' families stay in tents in the terminal, marking the site with blue ribbons, letters and banners criticizing the official investigation, while wreckage from the crash remains visible around the runway. Families grew frustrated after a July interim report focused on pilot error, but ignored the concrete runway structures which violated international safety guidelines. Nationwide checks found similar unsafe structures at 6 other airports, most of which are being retrofitted. Relatives argue investigations should focus on systematic safety failures, not just individual blame. While South Korea's parliament approved a bill to launch an independent probe into the crash on Monday, investigating causes and whether authorities attempted to cover up or downplay findings. An Ecuadorian court on Monday sentenced 11 of 17 soldiers to more than 34 years in prison over the forced disappearance of 4 boys during security operations in Guayaquil 1 year ago. Prosecutors requested this penalty for 11 soldiers accused of carrying out the crime. 5 additional soldiers who cooperated with investigators were sentenced to 2.5 years in prison, while a lieutenant colonel accused of involvement but not present on the patrol was acquitted. The children vanished during a military crackdown ordered by President Noboa after leaving home to play soccer. Autopsies later showed they had been injured before their deaths. As per the allegations, soldiers stopped the children during a nighttime patrol, mistreated them, made them remove their clothes and left them abandoned in Tora. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is in Sri Lanka as a special envoy of the Prime Minister for meetings with leadership in Colombo to follow up on relief and reconstruction efforts in the wake of Cyclone Ditwa. India has been among the main providers of humanitarian aid since the cyclone hit Sri Lanka on November 28th, causing widespread flooding and deadly landslides. India launched Operation Sagar Bandhu on November 28th and delivered hundreds of tons of relief supplies and critical early recovery capabilities across Sri Lanka, including in areas rendered inaccessible by the cyclone. New Delhi dispatched relief materials by air and sea, rapidly deployed several specialized search and rescue units, medical and engineering equipment, and Bailey Bridge systems, and set up a field hospital manned by the Indian Army. Within the first 3 days of Cyclone Ditwa, 53 tons of emergency relief materials were delivered by Indian Navy warships and heavy lift aircraft of the Indian Air Force. India's state-run energy giant, Indian Oil Corporation, together with the Indian Army, has inaugurated a bulk petroleum storage facility in Ladakh. The installation is designed for extreme high-altitude terrain and aims to strengthen energy security in the region. It will support India's advanced winter stocking operations and significantly boost operational readiness in forward areas. India marks National Farmers' Day on December 23rd to remember Chaudhry Charan Singh's birth anniversary. Now, this year's theme focuses on farmer-producer organizations and their role in building a Viksit Bharat by 2047. With record food grain production, five-fold surge in agriculture budget, and schemes like PM Kisan Samman Nidhi benefiting over 9 crore farmers, DD India's Rahul Upadhyay gets us more in this report.
National Farmers' Day, also known as Kisan Divas, is celebrated annually on December 23 in India to recognize the vital contributions of farmers to the nation's economy and food security. This date commemorates the birth anniversary of Chaudhry Charan Singh, the fifth Prime Minister of India and a dedicated champion of farmers' rights and rural development. Officially instituted in 2001, the day honors his enduring legacy as one of the most prominent agrarian leaders in post-independence India. This year's theme, Viksit Bharat 2047, the role of FPOs in globalizing Indian agriculture, underscores the pivotal contribution of farmer-producer organizations in elevating Indian farming to global standards. FPOs empower small and marginal farmers through collective bargaining, enhanced access to advanced technology, quality inputs, institutional credit, and international markets. By strengthening supply chains, boosting agri exports, and fostering sustainable market driven practices, FPOs are instrumental in realizing the vision of a developed India by 2047. The Government of India continues to prioritize farmer welfare and agricultural growth. The budget allocation for the Department of Agriculture and Farmers' Welfare has surged nearly fivefold, from 27,663 crore rupees in 2013-14 to over 1.22 lakh crore rupees in recent years. Reflecting this support, India's food grain production has risen impressively from 265 million tons in 2013-14 to record levels in recent seasons, demonstrating enhanced productivity and resilience in the sector. The government has introduced several transformative initiatives to uplift farmers. Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi, PM Kisan, an income support scheme for cultivable landholding farmers providing rupees 6,000 per year in 3 installments. 21 installments have been paid to over 9 crore farmers. Pradhan Mantri Kisan Man Dhan Yojana, PMKMY, a voluntary pension scheme for farmers aged 18 to 40, offering 3,000 rupees monthly pension after age 60. Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, PMFBY, restructured weather-based crop insurance scheme, RWBCIS, delivers affordable crop insurance covering over 4 crore farmers annually across most states and union territories. Modified Interest Subvention Scheme, MIS, offers concessional short-term loans up to 3 lakh rupees at 7% interest, benefiting over 7.75 crore Kisan credit card holders. Agricultural Infrastructure Fund, AIF, a 1 lakh crore rupees financing facility for post-harvest infrastructure and community assets. Formation and promotion of 10,000 FPOs, a central scheme to boost farmers' bargaining power, reduce production costs, and increase incomes through aggregation and scale. National Beekeeping and Honey Mission, NBHM, promotes scientific beekeeping under Atmanirbhar Bharat, driving the sweet revolution, with India emerging as a leading global honey exporter. Namo Drone Didi equips 15,000 women's self-help groups with drones for rental services and fertilizer and pesticide application. National Mission on Natural Farming, NMNF, targets 15,000 clusters across 7.5 lakh hectares and 10,000 bio-input resource centers for sustainable practices. Pradhan Mantri Annadata Ai Sanrakshan Abhiyan (PM ASHA) aims to ensure remunerative prices for farmers by strengthening the MSP system. The government's unwavering commitment to farmers' welfare stands out through visionary policies, substantial investments, and groundbreaking initiatives, from surging budget allocations and record food production to transformative schemes empowering millions. These efforts are propelling Indian agriculture towards global excellence, ensuring prosperity, security, and pride of every Annadata who feeds the nation. Rahul Upadhyay's report for DD India.
Cold wave conditions tightened its grip across North India with plunging temperatures, dense fog and severe winter weather disrupting daily life in several states. The Met Department said that dense fog will persist over Delhi and NCR till Tuesday, disrupting daily life. Low visibility led to cancellation of around 14 flights at the IGI airport, while over 35 trains were delayed by more than 3 hours. The IMD warned of dense to very dense fog over Punjab till 27th of this month. Several areas continue to reel under poor visibility, impacting road and rail movement. IMD issued an orange alert for dense fog in Bihar as visibility dropped sharply in several districts, affecting transport and routine activities. Dense fog led to train delays at Gorakhpur railway station, with passengers facing inconvenience due to low visibility conditions. Ayodhya witnessed cold wave accompanied by dense fog, reduced visibility and intensified winter conditions in the holy city. A thick layer of fog covered Assam's Guwahati, especially in the Uzan Bazar area, lowering visibility and affecting early morning movement. Cold wave conditions along with dense fog also gripped Rajasthan's Jaisalmer as temperatures dipped and visibility remained low across the city. Environment Minister Bhupendra Yadav dismissed claims that the Aravalli Hills are under threat, calling them misleading and baseless. Yadav reiterated the government's firm commitment to protecting the fragile ecosystem. DD India's Tapas Bhattacharya reports on this.
Coming down heavily on what he termed a campaign of lies and misinformation, Union Environment Minister Bhupendra Yadav rejected allegations of ecological dilution in the Aravallis. Referring to the Supreme Court ruling on the definition of the Aravalli Range, the minister clarified that there is no mining allowed in the NCR and no new mining leases will be granted.
कुछ लोगों ने भ्रम फैलाने की कोशिश करी, तरह तरह के झूठ और मिथ्या प्रचार किए जाने लगे। प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में विगत वर्षों में ग्रीन अरावली मूवमेंट को, ग्रीन अरावली के विषयों को आगे बढ़ाया गया है। यही कारण है कि 2014 में इस देश में जहां केवल 24 रामसर साइट्स होती थी, अब बढ़कर के 96 हो गई हैं।
Highlighting the scale of conservation, Yadav said the Aravalli Range is protected through 4 tiger reserves and 20 wildlife sanctuaries, stressing that the region remains safeguarded under existing environmental laws and Supreme Court guidelines.
अरावली का जो ऑलरेडी कोर एरिया है, चाहे वो हिल है चाहे ना हो, जो प्रोटेक्टेड एरियाज हैं, क्योंकि अरावली के क्षेत्र में 4 टाइगर रिजर्व्स हैं, अरावली के क्षेत्र में 20 वाइल्ड लाइफ सेंचुरी हैं, अरावली के क्षेत्र में सरकार के द्वारा जहां पर पेड़ लगाने का कार्यक्रम किया गया है, चाहे ग्रीन इंडिया मिशन में हो चाहे कैंपा में हो, वहां पर फ्यूचर में इस निर्णय के बाद भी कोई माइनिंग नहीं है।
Clarifying the facts on mining, the minister stated that out of the total 1.43 lakh square kilometer Aravalli area, only about 217 square kilometers is eligible for mining, and that too under strict scientific management plans approved by the court. Reiterating the government's resolve, Yadav said the Aravalli Hills remain under robust protection through the Environment Ministry in coordination with state governments, ensuring conservation while balancing responsible development for future generations. Tapas Bhattacharya's report, DD India.
You're watching DD India News. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, Danish drug maker Novo Nordisk wins US approval for a weight loss pill. Spain ends 2025 at top FIFA rankings ahead of Argentina and France. Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Let's get you updates from the world of business now. Most major stock indices were higher at the start of a holiday shortened week on Monday, while the yen strengthened against the US dollar after Japanese officials warned against one-sided and sharp currency moves. Gold and silver jumped off to record highs and oil prices also rose. Wall Street stocks were helped in part by a continued rebound in technology stocks, although the advance was broad. Almost all of the 11 S&P 500 sectors ended higher. Nvidia was up 1.5%. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 0.5%. The US Food and Drug Administration has approved Danish drug maker Novo Nordisk's weight loss pill. It gave the Danish drug maker a leg up in the race to market a potent oral medication for shedding pounds. The pill is 25 milligrams of semaglutide, the same active ingredient in Ozempic, which has become a popular weight loss drug for celebrities, despite it being prescription medication primarily for adults with type 2 diabetes. Oracle co-founder Larry Ellison has stepped in to personally guarantee $40.4 billion in Paramount Skydance's latest effort to pry Warner Brothers Discovery away from selling its prized Hollywood assets to streaming giant Netflix. The guarantee, disclosed in a filing, seeks to allay the Warner Brothers board's doubts about Paramount's financing and the lack of full Ellison family backing, which had pushed it towards the competing cash and stock offer from Netflix. Warner Brothers shares rose nearly 4%, while Paramount added about 3%. Paramount said the amended terms do not change the $30 per share all-cash offer, even as the fight for Hollywood's sought-after assets heats up, with control over Warner Brothers' vast library offering a decisive edge in the streaming wars. As part of the revised terms, Ellison also agreed not to revoke the family trust or transfer its assets during the pendency of the transaction, the filing showed. And now we turn focus to sports. Talking of cricket, after cruising to a comprehensive win in the opener, Indian women will look to tighten their grip on the 5-match T20 International Series when they take on Sri Lanka in the second game in Visakhapatnam on Tuesday. With conditions set to remain similar before the series moves to Thiruvananthapuram, India will start as the favourites again, while Sri Lanka search for consistency. FIFA released its final men's world ranking of 2025 on December 23rd, setting the stage for next year's World Cup in North America. The poll confirmed Spain as the year-end #1 team, ahead of defending champions Argentina and runner-up France. England and Brazil rounded out the top 5, while Portugal, Netherlands, Belgium, Germany and Croatia completed the top 10. In a landmark move, the BCCI approved a uniform pay structure for women's domestic cricket. Senior players in the playing 11 will now earn 50,000 per day, with reserves receiving 25,000 rupees. For T20s, the fee stands at 25,000 rupees and 12,500 rupees respectively. Junior cricketers also benefit with 25,000 for playing 11 and 12,500 for reserves in longer formats. The hike aims to attract more talent and strengthen women's cricket, though pay gaps with men's domestic players still remain. The Global Chess League's third season delivered drama right until the final round. At the historic Royal Opera House, Alpine SG Pipers scrapped through to the title clash, edging Ganges Grandmasters by a single point. Despite losing their last match to PBG Alaskan Knights, the 6 points gained proved decisive, lifting them to 84 group points against Ganges 83. That narrow margin set up a grand finale against defending champions Triveni Continental Kings, who qualified comfortably with 24 match points and 102 game points, capped by a 109-point win over upgrade Mumbai Masters. The Kings now chase back-to-back crowns, while SG Pipers, led by stars like Pragananda and Caruana, must summon something special to dethrone them. Alpine SG Pipers made it to the final, piping Ganges Grandmasters by just 1 point in the final round of the league phase. Are Pragananda, Fabiano Caruana and Hugh Yifan of Alpine SG Pipers with D. Gukesh of PBG Alaskan Knights after their match in the Global Chess League. The drama you get to see in the Global Chess League is unmatched. In fact, there is plenty of it even on the last day of the league phase on Monday. Alpine SG Pipers eventually made the final, pipping Ganges Grandmasters by just 1 point. SG Pipers was beaten by PBG Alaskan Knights in the last match, 6-11, at the packed Royal Opera House, but those 6 points were just about enough. SG Pipers and Ganges Grandmasters finished with 15 match points each, but the former scored 84 group points. That was one more than Ganges' tally of 83. So in the final of the third season on Tuesday, SG Pipers will meet the defending champions Triveni Continental Kings, which had already qualified with a round to spare. The champion side ended the league phase with another victory, 10-9, against upgrade Mumbai Masters. With that win, Continental Kings finished with 24 match points and 102 game points. Former Karnataka all-rounder Krishnappa Gautam, 37 years of age, announced retirement in Bengaluru. A combative off-spinner and attacking batter, Gautam played 59 first-class and 68 List A matches, besides earning 1 ODI cap for India in 2021. His career highlights include an 8-wicket Ranji haul against Tamil Nadu in 2019 and defending 13 runs in the Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy final to seal a 1-run win. He also made IPL history as the most expensive uncapped player, fetching 9.25 crore rupees from CSK in 2021. English rock and blues singer-songwriter Christopher Anton Ree passed away at the age of 74 on Monday. Chris Ree was famous for his hits The Road to Hell and On the Beach. Ree blended blues influences and soft rock across 25 studio albums. He was born in Middlesbrough in North England in 1951, and in his lifetime he sold more than 30 million albums in a recording career spanning 5 decades. He battled serious health issues in later years, including pancreatic cancer surgery in early 2000s and a stroke in 2016, which left him with slurred speech and reduced movement in his arms and fingers. Thousands of US Army recruits are heading home just in time to celebrate the holidays. Trainees poured into Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, where they were greeted with festive gift bags before boarding flights across the country. These soldiers are currently based at Fort Benning near Columbus, Georgia, and their return marks a joyful pause in training as they reunite with loved ones for Christmas cheer. That's it in this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. Now, this app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can download the respective QR codes. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.